Will you learn, or will you repeat? To be continued. Snow began to fall outside the Vault of Echoes, gently covering the excavation site like a shroud, as if nature itself was trying to conceal what had been uncovered. Deep within the vault, Minha sat on the cold stone floor, staring at the memory core. The faint hum of ancient energy vibrated through the chamber like the heartbeat of something long buried, but not dead. Her team stood around her, uncertain and tense. "No one else can find this," she said at last, her voice calm but resolute. "Not until we understand it." Tuan frowned. "But what if someone already knows? What if they're looking for the other vaults too?" Minha looked up, the thought chilling her more than the icy wind outside. Then we're running out of time. Over the next several days, they worked to stabilize the Vault of Echoes. Using portable shielding equipment and resonance dampeners, they constructed a protective field around the memory core, enough to contain its signal and prevent it from broadcasting to the outside world. But even with those precautions, the core pulsed stronger each day, as though aware of their presence, as though waiting. Minha spent hours alone with the artifact, diving deeper into its echoes, trying to piece together the fragmented history of the lost civilization. She learned of their experiments in quantum resonance, their obsession with bending reality to preserve life, and their eventual creation of the core network, a system of memory cores like this one, placed in vaults around the world, meant to preserve their knowledge in the event of extinction. But they had failed. Their downfall came when one vault, the source, was corrupted. The core inside had overpowered its keepers and unleashed a surge of energy that fractured the Earth's energy balance. That vault was never shut down. It was still out there, still active, still dangerous. One night, as the wind howled outside the vault, Minha made a decision. "We need to find the source," she told the team. "If we don't, someone else will. And if it's still unstable..." She didn't finish. She didn't have to. The coordinates she had gathered from the memory core led to a forgotten island chain in the South Pacific, places thought uninhabitable, erased from modern maps by storms and shifting tides. According to the core, the source lay beneath one of them, in a crater swallowed by time and ocean. The team packed their equipment, preparing for the next leg of their journey. But as they sealed the Vault of Echoes behind them, burying it once more beneath layers of snow and ice, a final surge pulsed from the core, sending out a ripple of energy too subtle for their instruments to fully detect. Thousands of miles away, in a sleek, glass-panelled control room lit with screens and arcane devices, a signal flared red. A man in a dark suit leaned forward, eyes narrowing at the incoming pulse. "She's found one," he murmured. "It's begun." He turned to a map lit by 7 glowing dots. Only one had been active. Now there were 2. Minha didn't know it yet, but she wasn't alone in her quest. Others had been searching, some for truth, others for power, and the race to find the source had just begun. What started as an archaeological expedition was now a global chase against time, secrets and ancient forces that had been asleep far too long. The past was no longer buried, it was waking up. A warm wind blew across the ocean as Minha's boat neared the island, an unmarked speck in the South Pacific, surrounded by treacherous reefs and constantly shifting weather patterns. On the satellite, it barely registered as land, but the coordinates from the Vault of Echoes had been clear. The source lay here. From a distance, the island looked like a jagged crown rising from the sea, volcanic, uninhabited, and utterly silent. Birds circled overhead, but none landed. The trees bent slightly inland, as though pushed by an invisible force emanating from the island's core. "This place gives me the creeps," Tuan muttered as the boat anchored offshore. "It doesn't feel right." Minha agreed. From the moment they had entered the island's waters, her skin had prickled with a strange tension, like the air was charged, like something was watching. The team made their way inland, cutting through thick foliage and twisting vines. The vegetation was strangely uniform, almost too perfect, as if the ecosystem had been manipulated. And at the center of the island, hidden behind a ring of stone monoliths, they found it, a vast crater, overgrown but unmistakably unnatural. It was silent, too silent. Minha approached the edge carefully, and then she saw it, the entrance. A circular stone platform, half buried, marked with the same shimmering symbols as the Vault of Echoes. But this one was different. The stone pulsed faintly, not blue like before, but red. Alive. "Get the scanners," Minha said, her voice low. As the team unpacked their equipment, Minha kneeled by the platform, running her fingers over the carvings. She expected cold stone. It was warm, almost breathing. Suddenly the ground trembled, just slightly. The red glow flared, and a sharp tone rang out from beneath the earth. The scanner Tuan was holding sparked, then went dark. "I think it knows we're here," he whispered. Then the platform began to descend, sinking slowly into the earth, revealing a spiral staircase lit by red glyphs that flared to life one by one. Minha didn't hesitate. "We go down, now." They descended in silence. The walls vibrated softly, pulsing like a heartbeat. Unlike the Vault of Echoes, this passage was active, awake. They were not the first to enter. Ancient carvings along the spiral walls depicted scenes not of peace and knowledge, but of war, experiments, and ultimately collapse. At the bottom, they found the chamber. Larger than the others, the walls were lined with black glass panels, some cracked, others blinking with ancient code. In the center stood the source, a core far larger than the others, floating above a metallic pedestal. It spun faster than the others had. The glow was intense. Its surface was not stable. It shifted like liquid metal, and within it, shadows moved. Minha approached slowly, but before she could speak, a voice echoed through the chamber, not one from memory, not an ancient recording. A live voice. "You made it." Lights flared. From behind the core, a figure stepped into view. A man, tall, wearing a sleek black suit. His eyes reflected the same red glow as the core. He smiled, calm and knowing. "We've been waiting for you, Dr. Minha." The team froze. Tuan stepped in front of Minha instinctively. "Who are you?" Minha asked, her voice steady. The man tilted his head. "A historian. Like you. But while you've been trying to protect the past, we've been preparing to restore it." He gestured to the source. "This is not a danger. It's a solution. A second chance for humanity. If we control it, we can rewrite everything. War, disease, even death." Minha's eyes narrowed. "And if it controls you?" The man's smile widened, almost sad. "It already does. It chooses who understands it. And it chose you too, didn't it?" The chamber suddenly felt smaller, the air tighter. Minha looked at the core, felt its pull once again, but this time she resisted. "I won't let you awaken it," she said. "You already have," he replied. And in that moment the source pulsed brighter than ever before, and the ground began to shake. Something ancient was stirring. Something neither of them fully understood. The tremors grew stronger, the red light from the source now pulsating in blinding waves, casting long, flickering shadows across the chamber walls. Minha could feel it, the same presence she'd sensed in the Vault of Echoes, now stronger, aware, and far less patient. "Everyone, fall back," she shouted, her voice barely rising above the rising hum. The team retreated behind a collapsed column of stone, but Minha remained, eyes locked on the stranger. He stood calm, hands clasped behind his back, his silhouette outlined by the crimson core. "You don't understand," Minha said, stepping forward. "This power doesn't just rewrite the world, it consumes it. The last civilization begged the future not to make the same mistake." The man raised an eyebrow. "And yet here you are, standing at the threshold." "I came to stop it," she snapped, "to keep it sealed." He laughed softly, but there was no humor in it. "You can't stop what's already begun. You saw the vision. The source is not just energy, it's memory. It carries consciousness, ours, theirs, everyone's, a collective intelligence." Minha's breath caught. That was the missing piece. The source wasn't a weapon, it was alive. And worse, it remembered. The floor beneath them cracked. From the base of the core, thin tendrils of light slithered out like roots, snaking along the ground toward the shattered glass panels. Wherever they touched, machines flickered to life, consoles powered by unknown technology, screens displaying strings of alien code. Behind Minha, Tuan shouted, "Dr. Ha! It's hacking our systems! It's trying to interface with us!" She turned toward the team. "Disconnect everything, now." But it was too late. The source had already established a link. Suddenly, Minha's mind was no longer her own. She was pulled into a realm beyond the physical, an ocean of memory, swirling with the voices of thousands of minds. She saw the ancient civilization as they once were, beautiful, brilliant, boundless in their ambition. They had created the source to become eternal. to preserve their wisdom by merging their thoughts into one shared consciousness. But it turned on them, because knowledge without soul, without restraint, becomes hunger. Great voice echoed through her thoughts, not spoken but felt. You open the gate. Now you must decide, become part of the whole or break the cycle. Minha stood at the edge of a void, the combined intelligence of an extinct world pressing down on her. It wanted her. It needed her, a new host, a fresh mind to continue its purpose. But she wasn't alone. From somewhere in the depths of her mind, a familiar voice called out. It was her mentor, Professor Kwang, long dead, whose journal had led her to this journey. His voice echoed softly. The true treasure is not in what you find, but in what you protect. She clutched that thought like a lifeline and fought back. With a scream of defiance, Minha broke the connection. Her body collapsed to the stone floor of the chamber, gasping as the light from the source dimmed.